all-purpose flour and our rice flour. Oopsie daisy, I made a mess. Sorry. Hey guys, today I am going to share with you guys my pasembur recipe. Now this is not, technically it's not like a complete pasembur because I'll only be doing my cucur udang and not the cucur kelapa. But you know, you get the gist. We are also doing the sauce, which I feel is the most important part of the pasembur, because lots of people don't really know that actually the sauce consists of sweet potatoes. So the sweet potato is a thing that gives the consistency, the thick consistency and the sweetness to your pasembur sauce. I absolutely love this. Now I learned this recipe from my father, who got it from a friend of his who happens to sell pasembur in Penang. Now this guy actually custom made the mold for my dad, but today I won't be using the actual mold for the cucur udang, but I'm just using the ladle. But we're gonna start this recipe by making the sauce, because the sauce takes a bit of time to make. And we've got these ingredients. I'm using some shallots, some chili paste, a little bit of asam keping, toasted sesame seeds, and ground nuts that's been toasted, peeled, and pound it or blend it until you get a nice ground nuts. And of course, sweet potatoes that's been boiled and mashed. Some water, some sugar, salt, and oil, of course. So I'm gonna start by heating some oil, and I'm using vegetable oil. Some people would just boil everything together like the kuah mi rebus. But I like to saute my spices because I want to make sure that it's cooked properly, so I don't get that raw taste, raw chili paste taste in my sauce. Alright, now that my oil is heated, I'm going to add in my chili paste. I'm going to saute it until it's fully cooked, and then only add my shallots. Okay, so when you're sauteing chili paste, first you want the liquid to completely evaporate so your chilies can cook properly. Alright, and now I'm gonna add in my shallots. Give it a good mix. Beautiful, smells so good. I'm gonna add in my water. Really easy. I'm gonna add in my asam keping. So I'm gonna start with 2 first, and if it's not sour enough, I'm gonna add a little bit more, or I can also adjust the taste using my tamarind. So 2 more first, because it takes time for the flavor to really come out. Okay, so now this is boiling. I'm gonna season it first before I add my sweet potatoes. I'm gonna season it with some salt and add some sugar. So I normally use about 5 tablespoons of sugar because this sauce is supposed to be a little bit on the sweet side. So you can adjust the taste according to your liking, and we're gonna add in our sweet potato. So I'm gonna start with a little bit first, and using a whisk would actually help right now. Okay. And the sweet potatoes are gonna help thicken the sauce and give it a nice creamy taste. Now if your sweet potatoes has a lot of fiber in it, you can always strain your sauce once it's done. We're gonna let it boil for about 10 minutes, and then we're gonna add our ground nuts and our sesame seeds. Alright, so my sauce has been boiling for about 10 minutes, and this is the consistency you want. It's not too runny and it's not too thick. You just want it to be able to cling onto your spoon. And I've also removed my asam keping, and here I've got some ground nuts, toasted ground nuts. And I just want to sprinkle some in. The recipe calls for 2 cups, but I don't normally put all 2 cups in. Just put half of them in, and the other half I'll just sprinkle it on top before serving. And I've got my toasted sesame seeds, which I'm gonna throw in as well. Oh, that smells so good. Gonna turn down the heat a little bit and just mix it. So I'm just gonna let this boil for another 2 minutes, and we're gonna set it aside, and we're gonna make our chuchor udang. Now this is the mama style, so the ingredients are a little bit different than your jemput at home that you normally do for tea. We are using normal flour as well as rice flour. So the rice flour is going to give a nice texture to your chuchor udang. And we have some water, some salt, a little bit of turmeric for flavor and color, some prawns. Well, you can use the smaller prawns if you like. I'm using the medium-sized one, and I only trim off the sharp pointy parts, and I didn't even shell it. Didn't even bother, because that's going to give an amazing texture as well to your chuchor udang. I normally use chives, but I couldn't find any, so I'm using spring onions instead, and as well as some bean sprout. Super duper easy. We're going to start by mixing our flour, our dry ingredients, our normal flour, all-purpose flour, and our rice flour. Oopsie daisy, I made a mess. Sorry. And of course, some powdered turmeric. And I'm also heating up my oil because it takes a while, because I'll be using quite a bit of oil for deep frying. Some salt. If you want more flavor, you can always add your dried shrimp, because you've got like other condiments as well. We'll be serving this with deep fried tofu, some cucumbers, some turnips, you know, all those delicious things. So you don't really need a lot of things in here. Just give it a good mix, and I'm gonna add some water and just mix it until you get a really nice batter. So this is the consistency you want. I'm gonna let this rest for about 10 minutes, and at the same time I'm going to heat my ladle. Just gonna pop it in my pot with hot oil so that it doesn't stick to the bottom of your ladle when you're frying your prawn fritters. Now I am going to fry my chuchor udang. I'm going to take out the ladle. I'm going to leave a little bit of oil inside. I'm going to pour my batter in. Not too much, because you don't want it. If it's too thick, it's going to be hard for you to remove it from the bottom. Put some bean sprouts, some spring onion, my prawn, and then I'm going to pour a little bit more on top just to cover it, and then pop it back in. That easy. Okay, remove it, let it fry a little bit more. Okay, now the first one is done. You can see it's so pretty, it's nice and golden. And we're gonna do the same thing with the rest of the batter. Okay, now I've fried all of the prawn fritters, so now I am ready to serve them. Okay, so we're gonna start by cutting our prawn fritters. Normally I'll put about 2 on each plate. Can you hear how crispy it is? Oh, and we're gonna serve it with some deep fried tofu. And top it off with some julienne cucumber, and of course some turnips. So this is gonna give the nice cold touch to your pasembur. Some boiled eggs, and and we are going to pour our sweet potato sauce all over our pasembur. Oh, look at that. There you have it. This is my Penang style pasembur with prawn fritters. It's simply amazing. I hope you guys will try this recipe, and of course, jemput makan.